Suspended some of the stuff tonight, so we did
We are live.
like
Oh, this is
Cobra
Ginville.
stuff and
Oh, yeah.
stuff. It's
Yeah,
How you feel about what about the police and stuff like that?
Okay.
I don't have an
Sounds good.
objection to that. And it's been read once. I don't have a big objection to that.
What's that?
Suspending the stuff from the police.
Did I say something
Of course,
else?
there's only 6, so, One person.
Everybody have to vote.
yeah.
That's why I was
If
like,
anybody doesn't, that's okay. But the
Sorry.
nations, that's kind of useless.
Yeah.
And basically cleaning up all this other
Must have
stuff.
Jim's on the bus.
On the third page, all these,
We can hack it around.
all these ordinances about the Board of Public Utilities taking all the rates down. I don't see any point in keeping those on. Do you? I mean, we've already transferred everything. Yeah, you might as well just clean up the books.
They're gone. Yeah.
Otherwise, your next meeting's gonna be really long.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You won't be here next meeting, right?
Why is that?
I'll be in Florida.
In August.
Yeah. It can't be any worse than London in June this year.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
The hotel has a pool, there's a swim park next door, there's a beach,
What part of this South Florida you want to?
St. Pete.
West Coast.
Before we suspend the stuff on the police, let's at least have a discussion. If anybody has any objections or if anybody's heard anything.
Yeah.
That would be my thought.
We can do that.
For these people.
Twice now.
I think you should bring it up.
Can he do something like we do?
Yeah.
Steps are kind of impressive.
Especially if you take down first night, or second,
Straight down.
to see that.
That was so nice. Steps.
Maybe they could put the entrance right there.
That's the side over there. Yep. That back.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. If you could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and then a moment of silent reflection, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Clerk, could we have roll call, please?
Councilman Eads,
Here.
Councilman McDaniels,
Here.
Councilman Hayes,
Present.
President Peters,
Here.
Councilman Hitt,
Here.
Councilman Norman,
Here.
Councilman Stahl,
Present.
Councilman Trainer.
Okay, on the minutes, did everybody get a chance to look at June 20th minutes? Any questions or concerns? Hearing none, all in favor, pass.
Aye.
Aye.
Now, could get a motion to exit regular meeting and enter into public hearing?
Make a motion.
Second.
Second.
I got Norman and Stahl. Councilman Hitt,
Yes.
Councilman McDaniels,
Yes.
Councilman Stahl,
Yes.
Councilman Eads,
Yes.
Councilman Hayes,
Yes.
Councilman Norman.
Yes.
Okay, the first one on the public hearing, we have three tonight. Ordinance 140-24. This one's sponsored by Andrew Hitt. This is an ordinance vacating an alley between 211 and 213 Tolan Street. Is there anybody out in the audience that want to speak on this? Okay, we'll go on to second one. Ordinance 142-24. This one's sponsored by John Stahl, vacating an alley as well. This one is vacating alley west side of 88 South Street, going north to south from South Street between parcels 31-00470 and parcel number 31-01766. Anybody out in the audience want to speak on this one? All right, on to the last one we have, ordinance 143-24. This one's sponsored by John Stoll as well, vacating alley. This one is vacating an alley behind City Hall in London Dental Care. Anybody want to?
Question.
Yes.
Did we, because you said during the last meeting that you were gonna talk to the London Dental and everything to make sure that, I realize there's no plans that we're going to do anything over there, so they can't get no parking area, but did we have a conversation with them to let them know that we are taking that as ours now?
Yeah, they reached out and asked about this legislation. I sent them an email telling them that during the process of reviewing for the blacktop seal coating and paving projects that we had, I discovered that the school had a couple parcels they hadn't transferred to the city. And then I also found the alleyway was still there. It was our intent to vacate it, and then we're going to draw up easements to allow them to still park there and still come in.
I just want to make sure they're taken care of.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other discussion? Okay. I get a motion to exit public hearing and enter back into our regular meeting.
Make a motion.
Second.
Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
Councilman McDaniels?
Yes.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Okay, on to communications and announcements. First one we have here, we got well, the mayor has appointed a couple people to the London City Boards and Commissions. This is for the Mid-Ohio Water and Sewer District. These terms will begin July 18th, 2024. We have Joe Mosier. His term would expire 3/28/26, and then Mark Landis. Landis? Is that correct?
Landis.
His term would expire 3/28/26 as well. Mayor, I feel very confident in my appointments. I think they will serve the citizens and City of London to the best of their abilities. I recommend that you approve all of my appointments by voice vote in the communications period of London City Council meeting held July 18th, 2024, with the appointments terms to begin on July 18th, 2024. Thank you for your time and consideration, Mayor Patrick J. Glosser.
Yep, question. Can we just have, if you have it, Safety Service Director, can you just give us like maybe just a small background on these two people, just so that it's,
Sure.
because I know Mr. Mosier, but I really don't know Mr. Landis.
Okay. So you want me to do Mr. Mo? I'll do it. So maybe not everybody knows Joe.
Right.
Joe served as Safety Service Director when the mayor was elected until 2021, whenever I took over. He's been a resident of London for many, many, many years, He owned businesses in Columbus, financial background, so that's why we think he would be a viable person. Mr. Landis is also a resident of London, lives on Main Street. He's an attorney by trade, thus giving us some legal expertise on the board. And he also serves on the BZA board, or BZA committee, whatever that term is.
The Board of Zoning Appeals.
Yes, thank you.
And then Mr. Mosier also serves on our planning committee, correct?
Yes, Joe Mosier serves on plan.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Do you know if, Mr. Castle, do you know, does Mr. Landis, does he have a background in municipal law?
I'm sorry?
Does he have a background in municipal law?
I cannot tell you what his, all I know is he's attorney. I don't know what his specialty is. I don't know if it's general law or what.
I just think he'd been contacted and given some advice in the past.
Okay. I don't have an answer for that.
These,
Go ahead.
these gentlemen will be paid by Mid-Ohio, not by the city,
That's
correct?
correct.
And just a clarification, these are the two seats that were created for the City of London when we joined Mid-Ohio, and it was approved by the judge in like June 21st.
That's correct.
So there's two additional seats to this board. Those are to be taken by residents of London.
Any other discussion? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, well, thank you. And then we have another communication announcement. We have a liquor license for the Gin Mill. There's a new owner. This is a D5 permit. Any discussion on that?
So I believe the owners of Mad Cow purchased the gin mill. So they're opening a second location where the gin mill was. And they'll take over the gin mill's liquor license in order to do that, if what I understand is to be true. I don't know if anyone else has any input on that.
I just know they're redoing it, put a whole new floor in because the other's about ready to fall in.
Mm.
And the same guy's fixing, I can't think of his last name, but they fixed up a lot of downtown buildings. They made apartments upstairs.
Is that David Morris?
Mark,
Do you have the actual application, Mr. President?
Yes.
Does it list who the applicant is?
Brent D. Millen.
Hmm.
F&S Restaurant Group. So this will be a voice vote as well. So all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. On to audience concerns. We have two tonight. First one, Tommy Boyd. If you could please step up, state your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, Tommy Boyd from Union Street. Not a whole lot tonight. A couple things from last meeting. One quick one about the board members would be, are we going to hear updates or from those board members ever actually coming into meetings, maybe saying, hey, this is what's going on with them, anything like that?
Nope, you'd have to go to Mid-Ohio for that.
Okay, just to hear, because I mean, you know, one of my next things coming up is about the roads and the amount of holes and breaks and everything else that we're looking at right now. I can guess that it isn't going to be on Mid-Ohio to fix 56 there going out past Bowling. It's not really a question or anything, just more of a comment of, you know, just fixing that coming into town. We're looking at probably about $500,000, I think, for just that road. So hopefully, yeah, we can keep hearing from them or seeing, you know, what else they can offer. But I know that little strip going out past there, that's bumped a little bit.
I think, was it finance? We discussed that?
Yeah.
And I believe the resurfacing.
When that project was put together, the project cost was increased for new pavement to be put on that side since it was all new pavement. the project's not finished. The residence's taps have to be put in, so they'll be digging it up again. That's why it's not a finished quality. When it is finished, that whole half of the 56 will be replaced.
Got it. We're just gonna do the half of it then.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You know, yeah, and I'll say having some of the holes, they're sinking. So hopefully we can get those patched up. I know, over there on North Union, we have a little bit of a flower pot right in the middle of the road there. That's kind of sprouted. Next one is, last meeting, it was brought up as one of the committee kind of notes that I've been tracking the handicap ramps. That's what I've been on. I'm happy to hear we're getting them. But it was mentioned that we've contracted with someone that they'll do as many of the 340 as they can out of the 220,000. Do we have a number on what they've said is a idea on how many of the ramps they will be doing with that $220,000?
I don't know the exact number, thinking somewhere around 130 ramps that will be put in is what I recall. Now, could be more if he doesn't encounter many problems, because he has that threshold to reach. Could be less if he has big problems with some of the intersections. So
So about 130 is kind of.
that's off the top of my head, don't hold me to it, but
All right.
somewhere around that number.
And to go along with it, you know, I'll just kind of throw it out there now. Do we feel that the city is going to be interested in helping reimburse the remainder of those ramps being replaced? That would kind of specify, hey, there's 340 handicapped, non-accessible sidewalks in the city. You know, even if you're not using a wheelchair, having a ramp where you can ride a bike with your kids around the city, it's a useful part. So I was just going to see, do we have any interest in helping fund the remainder of those?
I would say that would have to be a subject that would be addressed at finance, so I can't tell you an answer on that.
Just looking at what else we had for tonight, the BQ system that's coming up, didn't we approve that last year for the street department?
No, we did not. All we did was approve to buy the new trucks that we bought to equip them that they could lay down the beach use. But the beach use system that we're getting is going to be the tank and the equipment to put it into the
I
trucks.
know we talked about it a whole lot last year, so I was thinking that we had already gotten it.
Yeah, he was getting his trucks with anticipation of getting that, yes.
Thanks for the update there. And then kind of looking into the appropriations for the third ward storm sewer project. Is that just kind of showing, hey, we're getting ready to get started on it, moving some money over for us to start getting that guy going?
It's not really moving money, it's approving to spend the money
Yeah.
to pay the contractors when the bills come in, because the grant and the loan is a reimbursement type, so we got to spend it and then we get our money back, so, yeah.
First, and we did that.
Yeah.
All right, well, hey, happy to hear that those are getting on the roll. Once again, thank you, police chief. I'm still here rooting and saying, let's get that thing passed and get our things rolling. Otherwise, sorry to leave early, guys. We are back to the schedule where I got my boy and it'll be time to get back to it. Thank you very much.
Next up, we have Barry Joseph. If you could please state your name and address for the record, please.
Council, my name is Barry Joseph, 132 Main Ave.
So,
It happens. Once again, my name is Barry Joseph, 132 McLean Ave. I'm on the Parks and Rec Committee. My first question is, am I allowed to have two members of the Parks and Rec Committee right here? Just stand with me, and because we have some questions.
Yep.
So the main questions that we have is in regards to the Park Ambassador Program. There's not a lot of guidance in regards to that. I did a little bit of research myself. I just want to make sure that we're clear on what the objectives are. Is the objective of the London Parks and Rec Ambassador Program is to bridge the line of communication between the community and London Parks and Rec, assist London Parks and Rec with the general maintenance and upkeep of parks through close observation, which will enhance safety for park visitors, while at the same time provide a presence to deter crime and vandalism, encourage the community to take a proactive approach in maintaining the integrity and intended use of the parks and green space. This was kind of thrown to us at our last Parks and Rec meeting, so we don't really have any clear objective of what it is that the Ambassador Program is intended for. So we just came up here to for more guidance than anything.
Brendan?
Yeah, the Ambassador Program was really going to help with everything you just mentioned, and with the Parks and Rec making all the rules and regulations for it, they can mold it however they want to, you know. So it's a really good program. They've had success with it everywhere it's been. It's still implemented. So it's a good way to educate also people about the parks.
I have a question. My name is Marilyn Hall. I live at 247 East First Street. How do we find these people? And is it a totally volunteer type of assignment that would make people accountable to either Parks and Rec or the City Council? And you say that it's been good at other places. Do we have any kind of writing about how they did what they're doing? Because we really don't know what it is we would write down to be clear to whoever the people are that we'd be working with. Thank you.
Can I ask, have you actually seen the actual, what is it, pamphlet or whatever you gave out?
Yeah.
Have you actually seen that and read through that?
Mike, is your mic on?
Negative.
Is my mic on? It looks like there's a green mark on
Okay.
it. I wish I had one here, because in that packet, it does describe each and every, like, what's one of the ambassadors is a, like a trail, white trails ambassador. So something that ambassador would do would be, like, we have murals on our trails. So that ambassador would volunteer to maybe give a demonstration of what the different murals on that wall now mean in the history of London. So it's kind of educational. And because they're there and they're doing that, say once a month or twice a month, they're also there and they're seeing the condition of the bike trail, the condition of the area around the murals. And it does create, like, kind of like you said, it does create a situation where they can report back to the Park and Rec director, hey, you know, I was over there today and I was doing my spiel on the mural and I noticed there's a big pothole or something, or there was graffiti, or it was very trashy, or these kind of things. And so that's just one of them. Another one I think is a naturalist or something.
Yes.
Where a volunteer would have the opportunity to give a tour through our parks, the different parks that we have, and the different types of trees, bushes, berries, flowers, and it would give them the opportunity also to educate again to do that. And again, it goes back to they're going to be out there, there's going to be people with them, so it does give you more of a little bit of a security. I'm sorry you haven't actually seen the actual. What would you call that?
The pamphlet I gave them.
The pamphlet that was given, because it does kind of go through and break down, what the responsibilities are. It also, there's a photographer opportunity for a volunteer. It's just, it's like with anything, you're gonna get what you put into it, right? So if we can get the volunteers, we can get them organized, it'll be successful. If we don't, then we don't. But I said this when we first brought it up, I think the big thing we need to focus on is it's not, the purpose isn't for security, it's more for educational and just kind of like an extra set of eyes.
Okay, before I pass it on to her, I just have one quick question. So you're saying the pamphlet will kind of give us guidance on how to implement the program. Does it give us guidance on the volunteers or how to get volunteers? Or as far as getting volunteers, are we running background checks on the volunteers? Or we're checking their history, or we're making sure that these volunteers actually know what they're talking about, as far as if we need somebody for landscaping, for example, a florist or whatever, somebody that knows about trees, or dog park. I'm sure there's going to be a volunteer for the dog park.
Yeah.
But that's basically what my question is.
Do you have a extra copy of
Yeah,
that
not
booklet
on me. Not on me, I don't.
that they could maybe pick
Was
one
it,
up?
was it
It's on-
email?
it's
Can we
online.
forward an email?
Yeah.
We can get them to you if you'll leave your email or a contact. Somebody up here will get that to you so that you can actually read through it. Because there is a section there that goes over, you have to be 18. There is a background check. It's more of a background check like we do when we have a vendor come in. It's not a thorough. It's just like we do when we have the vendors for the different festivals come in. It would be that type of background check.
I think it would be overseen by Landon, is that right? If it was to pass?
It's supposed to go.
Is that correct?
It was supposed to go with the other legislation we passed when they hired Tammy Braskett for security.
Oh, she would oversee?
Yeah, she was supposed to work with it.
So yeah, my question was, who's responsible for finding the volunteers and training them to make sure they're not giving out false information? If there's a photographer, are they going to have like a consent to take pictures of kids that are playing in the park?
That is up. See, again, it goes back to that packet. In the packet, it does mention consent for photography and all those things. It's pretty much all.
So who is responsible?
The person who Landon decides, I'm sorry, Landon, Mr. McKenzie decides that will run it. It'll be his choice. Now, it was thrown around like Mr. McDaniel said that because it makes sense that you're going to run our now recently hired, what are we calling Tammy's position? Parker Rec Assistant. So she has a part-time position from May to September, and that's really when you're going to have your volunteers there too. It's May to September. So it makes sense that she would probably be the most.
Okay, but we don't know any of this for sure yet.
No, we don't.
Okay.
So if I'm not mistaken, and I wasn't part of this original discussion, but this was based on Louisville, Kentucky, and Greene, Ohio.
Yeah.
And those two cities both have an ambassador program. I have the email that they sent, and I can share this right now. And I know this is a working copy, right? And I know that there's been discussions that if this is put in place, that the rec department and probably your committee are going to help design it moving forward from that point. This would be more of a guide from other places. If you'd like me to forward that right now, I'd be happy to do that.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you. There's also one in Bloomington, Indiana as well, an Park Ambassador program. That's the one I was doing the research on. But yeah, I'll put down my information, and once we get the pamphlet, and we'll talk to Mr. McKenzie, and we'll get the process rolling. But it sounds like Parks and Rec, it's going to be the person that heads this ambassador program.
Yes.
Okay.
Can I ask your name?
Oh, Sarah Mars.
Sarah Mark?
Mars.
Mars, thank you.
Hey, thank you for coming out. I really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Yeah, truly. Thank
And anytime you want to come and give us a report on what you guys have done, we would all appreciate that. We don't really hear anything.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, on to committee reports. Greg?
Personnel Budget and Finance Committee met on July 8th. I'm gonna read a number to you. For the month, the revenue for the month of June was $1,180,000, almost $181,000. So $1,181,000. The expenses for the month were $7,270,000. That's a huge number. What that number encompasses is the $6,143,000 that we transferred from our funds to Mid-Ohio. That was part of the agreement. Any money that was left in those accounts had to be transferred to them. So even though it's really scary to think that we spent over $6 million more than what we brought in, that $6 million was voted upon us as part of the deal with Mid-Ohio to go to Mid-Ohio. Without that number, we would probably still be a little bit ahead in revenue for the month than we were for expenses. Also, for the year, it appears that we're $4 million over in expenses, but again, you take the $6 million out, we're actually about $2 million ahead for the year in our expenses compared to our revenue. Also, just to give everybody an update, the tax department gave us their monthly report, and for the year, the general fund is up about 3.46%, and the fire fund is up 3.19%. So we're still holding steady or gaining a little bit in those things. We're going to bring most of the things that we discussed in that. We're going to come up tonight, donations, reappropriating some money. The Tree Commission has spent money they'd like more, and the Third Ward Stormwater Project. Let me use the English words for that. So those things are all going to come up later on tonight. The next meeting will be August 5th, Monday, August 5th, 5:30 in the room next door. Any questions? Nope.
Brent?
Yeah, I've got the Parks and Rec from the Safety Service. Yeah, it looks like they're still planning on closing the pool August 10th. Oh. It's going to be extended. All right. They had a movie night at Cowling Park on June 28th. And there's going to be some legislation coming tonight for some new picnic tables and trash cans I'll be sponsoring for Merrimack. And some of the cans are going also to Cowling, right?
Not Cowling, at the Ball Diamond there.
Okay. And then I have the fire from Safety Service. Yeah, did a departmental EMS training, sports medicine with Ohio Health, departmental EMS training, rapid trauma assessment with Madison Health, and departmental fire training, aerial ladder operations. They hosted several students for ride time for tolls. Provided fire EMS services for Madison County Fair and Strawberry Festival. Provided inspection and supervision of the London fireworks. Completed self-contained breathing apparatus annual inspection. And participated in a London Champions Program safety talk. Participated in an Independence Day and Strawberry Festival parade, and also participated in a Cobra show. So, fire department's very busy. That's all I got.
Thank you. Rich?
Okay, we had a Safety Service Committee meeting on 7/9/2024. All committee members were present. City reps in attendance, Sergeant Cooper for Chief Nickel, Fire Chief Eads, Mr. Castle. I called meeting at order at 6 p.m. Minutes of 6/11/2024 meeting were approved as written. Sergeant Cooper gave the police report for Chief Nickel. Mr. Stahl will give that report momentarily. Chief Eads gave the fire and EMS report, which Mr. McDaniel just gave. Safety Service Director gave us some legislation will be coming up tonight. Planning Commission approved a change of use to add a vet clinic in a building that was previously was set up, could be set up to be a kennel or a pet shop. We're going to amend the codified ordinances, or codified ordinances, I'm sorry, so a vet clinic can go into that building. Under new business, there was none. Under old business, there was none. We adjourned at 6:12. Next safety service meeting will be August the 13th, 2024 at 6 p.m. in the room next door. Thank you.
Thanks. Andy?
Yeah, I attended the Public Service Committee meeting on July 9th, and I'll give the street superintendent's report. And most of the stuff we discussed will come through legislation tonight. Mr. Long submitted a 4-page report of various work duties that he completed, so I won't go through all those, but he also mentioned various things at the street department that were needing repair work. Wood lean-to needs major repairs, a metal lean-to needs new metal, the salt dome roof truss needs work. Several roads are going to be worked on with the money that was appropriated for the street department. Curbs on Kenny Boulevard need replaced, and several storm sewers. And legislation coming later has to do with the salt dome and the beet juice pump and storage container so that the beet juice equipment on the trucks can be utilized this winter. And then he also itemized several vehicles that are possibly needing fixed or repaired or replaced coming up. So there's a whole page of these, so I won't go through all that, and then Mr. Norman will give the sanitation report, and the next service committee meeting is August 13th at 5 p.m. in the meeting room next door.
Michael?
I have the sanitation report. We purchased a chipper for yard waste, so we will now start chipping the yard waste. All the trucks are out on the road, although a couple will be going in for preventive maintenance. We had a new hire, Kevin Crossley. Hope I said that properly. He has passed his probation period, and we are planning on hiring him. And then it actually lists here the holidays, but we've already been through all of them. So they did have a holiday schedule, and as far as I know, they went by the holiday schedule, and we're now caught up, correct? On all that, so we're back to normal until the next holiday.
Thank you. John?
Okay. London Police Division Public Safety Committee brief from July 9, 2024. They selected Jacob Johnson, 21, Springfield, from the last applicant list as a new hire. He will start his basic academy training at Clark State later this month. We will be seeking approval to start another civil service posting for applicants for opening officer positions as well as a sergeant's position. Sergeant Joe Cox retired on June 26 after 20 years with LPD. Cento, our newest K-9, was certified and started his duties in June. We have purchased a new 2023 Ford Expedition for the K-9 unit. It will be weighted on uplifting equipment before it can be put into use. We will keep as much equipment set up from the old Ford K-9 to get the most trade value. They look forward to legislation approval to work with Holman King Architects on the design and phase of the new facility. They covered traffic and security for the Cobra Show Strawberry Festival. The Cobra Show donated $7,000 to the police department. Chief's vehicle was involved in a minor deer crash on County Road 11 near State Route 38, 1150 on July 4th, waiting on a repair estimate. They will complete the agency's annual firearms qualification later this month. We have handled 2,684 calls for service, 636 incident reports for the first 6 months of 2024, with 564 traffic stops. A notable incident, officers responded to Muir Woods apartment on June 24th as a deputy serving a paper, heard a gunshot inside the apartment. Unknown at the time where the shot was directed. A tactical entry was made by FCSO SWAT in the safest manner possible. The incident resulted in the apparent suicide of the resident. That's all I have.
Thank you. On to city official reports. Rex, do you have anything?
I don't really have too much. Just a quick note, the Parks and Rec assistant that we hired, Tammy Braskett, we've had numerous phone calls stating that compliments and thinking the parks look much nicer, things are clean, things are kept up better, and they feel a little bit more safe at the parks.
Okay, on to.
Mr. President, may I ask a couple questions, Mr. Castle?
Sure.
So I had in my notes to bring up North Main Street. I'm glad you clarified that that's going to be repaved, because that's probably the worst road in London right now. Driving up through there, it's like being on a gravel road, and a bad gravel road at that, going northbound.
Try transporting patients on that.
Pardon me?
Said try transporting patients.
Oh, I'm sure it's pretty rough right there. And then Mr. Boyd also brought up the ramps, and you said there was 130 roughly that's going to budget. How did they determine which 130 they're going to use, or they're going to
They
try
were
to?
instructed to start at the center of town, and any intersection that does not have handicap ramps, they are to put them in. So we're basically focusing on the center of town and working outward.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay. On to old business up for third reading. Ordinance 140-24. Can I get a motion to read by title and number?
So moved.
Second.
Ordinance 140-24, sponsored by Andrew Hitt, an ordinance vacating an alley.
So this is the alley between 211 and 213 Tolan Avenue. All departments are okay with the vacation of that alley, other than the water department wants to retain easement rights in order to service that area.
Any discussion?
Move to adopt.
A second.
I'm sorry, who was second? You? Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Councilman Hitt?
Yeah.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman McDaniel?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 140-24 is passed. On to resolution 141-24. Can I get a motion to read by title and number?
So moved.
Second.
Resolution 141-24, sponsored by Brent McDaniel. Resolution to establish the London Parks and Recreation Ambassador Program.
Yes, and this is the program that's going to help Parks and Rec, and I'm looking forward to seeing it do well.
Mr. President,
Yes.
was it Sarah Mars? Yes. Hi, Sarah. So at the last council meeting, I asked Mr. McDaniels if he thought there was going to be any buy-in for this program. It sounds like you guys have an interest in it. And I just forwarded that to Mr. Barry, so he'll have it. I only had the one email address, but, so he has that now. So- Okay, good. So I appreciate you guys coming out tonight and discussing it. And you're right, it was probably, maybe the process was a little backwards, but I'm glad that you guys at least have an interest in it.
Landon?
I mean, I think with this just being an educational focus on the ambassador program, I think that you can fit in nicely. And from there, with it possibly growing, then we could possibly work into other aspects of that they could be overseeing or in charge of in a sense. But I think if we start with the educational aspect of parks or whether it be gardens or golf carts or something like that, then I think it could fit in nice.
If you could come up to the microphone, I'm sorry.
Well, Rex has got the mic.
I'm sorry. I was just wondering who will pay for the background checks to be done? Because like at the school, if you volunteer to go on a field trip, it's like the parent that has to pay for that. Is it coming out of city funds, or where would the funds come out of for the background checks for the ambassadors?
Yeah, to be coming out of city funds
Okay.
because of the background checks.
You think?
Or that's, I mean, and that's something, I think, like it's worded, you guys will be in control of the program, so you'll be able to set the parameters. If you feel that it's something that you would want a citizen to do their own background check like the school does,
Yeah.
I mean, that would be up to you to do, if that's what you would like to do.
Yeah, I mean,
They're right.
I think a background check needs done. If
Oh,
they're
definitely try and
yeah.
find
So,
I totally
okay.
agree there.
Just making sure.
Ma'am.
Yeah, I'd like to see this go on to further reading, just
Thank you.
because they haven't had information, and it seems like there's a lot of questions still about this.
The legislation
Program.
does not reference anything about a manual. The legislation, unless you want to amend it, states that the Park and Recreation will come up with the criteria to run the program. So just want to throw that out there. The manual was vetted by the law director, and she had some issues with a lot of things in there that didn't feel like that we could implement in the city.
And we decided to let the Parks and Rec
Right, so they
write
just-
it
yeah, so,
how they want it.
You know, it's fine you dispersed it, but that is not going to be the guidance that's going to be utilized. It's going to be whatever Landon and his committee comes up with to guide that.
Yeah, that's the way I read it, is that the Parks and Recreation will take over and form the program. So that's really all we're giving it authorization to do, is to form the program. So even though they haven't got the information yet, they're really going to create it on their own anyway. So they really, this will just be added information for them to create.
So Sarah, in the working document they have, the requirement of background checks for all ambassadors has been determined by the City of London to be necessary before beginning as an ambassador, but that's all it says. So that has to be worked out, I would think.
Are we not getting into a situation here where, I think it's a good program, but I think we're about ready to go back to school. They'll have some time here. They can work on this. I would think by next year, everything should be together. Pamphlets should be out, and everything should be rolling good.
Yeah.
Get a good start on it. So we're into July now. Kids go back to school, 3 weeks?
Yeah.
And be closing the pool. So I think it's a good program, and I think we ought to do it. I just think we're at a point where we can kind of step back and look at a couple programs around, take some information from that, and get our own program together and go with it. Next year would be off to a flying start with it.
For council's wishes.
I make a motion we adopt.
Second.
Councilman McDaniel?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Okay, Resolution 141-24 is passed on its second reading. Ordinance 142-24, can I get a motion to read by title number?
So moved.
Second.
Ordinance 142-24, sponsored by John Stahl, an ordinance vacating an alley.
This is the alley, it's between, on the west side of 88 South Street going north, south to South Street. You can read the long digit of the parcels there. We've had a public hearing and nobody's brought anything against it.
And we've had almost a month of it on there since we haven't had a meeting, so I make a motion, we suspend the 3 reading rule.
Second.
Norman, Stahl,
Yes.
Councilman Eads,
Yes.
Councilman Hayes,
Yes.
Councilman Hitt,
Yes.
Councilman McDaniel,
Yes.
Councilman Norman,
Yes.
Councilman Stahl.
Yes.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the first one.
Rich.
Rich,
Rich.
I need to get hearing aids or something. Councilman Eads,
Yes.
Councilman McDaniel,
Yes.
Councilman Hayes,
Yes.
Councilman Hitt,
Yes.
Councilman Stahl,
Yes.
Councilman Norman.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 142-24 is passed. On to ordinance 143-24. Can I get a motion to read by title and number?
So moved.
Second.
Ordinance 143-24, sponsored by John Stahl, and ordinance vacating an alley.
This is the alley between City Hall behind London Dental Care out to the street. And the same with this one, we've had several meetings with it, nobody's complained.
Make a motion to suspend the 3 readings.
Second.
All right. Councilman Hitt,
Yes.
Councilman McDaniels,
Yes.
Councilman Stahl,
Yes.
Councilman Eads,
Yes.
Councilman Hayes,
Yes.
Councilman Norman.
Yes.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Councilman Stahl,
Yes.
Councilman Norman,
Yes.
Councilman McDaniels,
Yes.
Councilman Hitt,
Yes.
Councilman Hayes,
Yes.
Councilman Eads.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 143-24 is passed. On to resolution 144-24. Can I get a motion to read by title and number?
So moved.
Second.
Resolution 144-24, sponsored by Andrew Hitt, a resolution authorizing the safety director to apply for a loan.
So this is up to $4 million loan to provide additional funds for the building of the new police station. That would supplement the $5 million that we got to go towards that as well. This would include approximately $218,000 to $250,000 debt service annually.
Depending on what the finance rates fall at in between those two numbers, yeah.
Our chief's here, and he's shared some information, I believe, with the council clerk.
Yeah, can you pull them up on
Did
Oh,
he share?
it's up. Sorry.
the, yeah, this is the plans. I don't know if you want to detail any of it or,
You have to get Rex mic.
Wish that was Rex.
Share his cooties.
Sharing is caring.
He was a little reluctant to give it up, I think. Hey, as far as these are really, like we mentioned last time, it's an conceptual plan, so it's very early. We have not hired the architect yet, so what we're getting is from them right now is goodwill that we will hire them and that we will at least pay for what they've done so far. The big switch that they're looking at trying to save the most money, make it as cost effective as possible, is this building will face First Street. I think the last time we talked about it facing City Hall, but then the architect was pretty adamant looking at it and saying, look, it doesn't make sense to make the best part of the building look at the side or back of another building. The main intersection there at First and Walnut is what will help with the facing that direction will help really make the project look good for this area and really enhance the area itself. I think there's some other pictures of what they wanted to do with the rendering. So there's, if you remember the old school building, and then also doesn't show up real well with the lights, but the library, they actually have those overhangs over the doors. So they tried to encompass some of the features from the historical buildings that are around and that were here. And that's when you look at the next slide where you see how that is laid out. It would have a similar front door overhang that the library has currently, and the schools that sat in that location did have. Also the bump outs on the corners and the walls there from the bricks. So it's ties in what the historical buildings were and some of them that are still here. That's their concept so far.
Chief, three holding cells, male, female, and juvenile, 12 by 12, correct?
I don't know the exact dimensions of it, but they meet the requirements for the Department of Corrections
Correct.
to be a temporary holding facility, which is basically a secure location until we can get them transported to the jail. There are 3 cells, and that's a minimum that we request because of what you said. The juveniles, males and females, all have to be separated, and that would allow us to have all 3 at one time.
Which could happen with the way
Yes, it can happen.
things happen now.
How many do we have right now?
We don't have any qualified cells right now. We have a room that we use as a holding room, but it's not.
So the procedure now, when you arrest someone, is
They're,
you have to immediately transport out to Tri-County? Or
generally, they transport as soon as they can, depending on the situation as far as the arrestee's demeanor.
Gotcha.
That's also a manpower issue, right?
Yes, sir.
You can't transport if you only have 2 officers on. Can't
We
send somebody
we
out.
do have to transport when we have 2 officers on.
Yep, so you leave 1 officer in the city at a time?
At times, that happens,
Oh,
yes.
wow.
This plan still is able to accommodate up to 30 officers? Or this plan here?
The size of the rooms that were explained last time are still there. So for the locker room, the lobby was, made smaller. The carport, covered parking for cruisers, Mr. Castle kind of wanted it attached to the building in another plan he saw, and part of that was able to be accomplished with this design here.
But again, these are just renderings and thoughts. These are not actual architectural plans, and all of that has to be worked out.
That's correct.
Well, I think the last time I did this, the reason we wouldn't suspend the 3 reading rule is we wanted to give the public time to get information, see information. That's been almost a month ago. So I am going to make the suggestion that we suspend the 3 reading rules.
Second.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh, quick.
Second?
Brent, was that you?
That was Brent.
Yes.
That was Councilman McDaniels with the second.
I'm sorry. Councilman McDaniels. All right. Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman McDaniels?
Yes.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
All right. Who was the second?
I was.
Who's the first?
No, he was the first.
Rich was-
Rich Hayes.
Oh.
Mr. Hayes.
All righty. Y'all get tricking me.
We're disguising our voice.
I know. Councilman McDaniels?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Okay, Resolution 144-24 is passed. On to Resolution 145-24. Can I get a motion to read by title and number?
So moved.
Second.
Resolution 145-24, sponsored by Andrew Hitt, a resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to enter into contract with Horn and King Architects Incorporated.
So this basically says what it is. It's to enter into contract with Horn and King Architects Incorporated. They've put forth some effort already, as the chief mentioned, to develop these renderings and various other stuff that they've already helped with. I think Mr. Norman kind of researched them a little bit, and they have a pretty impressive resume.
They've done over 40 facilities, police facilities, and then various other municipality buildings or additions to buildings. So they seem to be well-versed in how to deal with getting things done, and he's dealt with the loan processes and such, is what he told us during our meetings.
And we had asked the questions when he was here and then also at finance, does this meet the requirements of today's police departments? After 911, things changed. You had to build them to certain measures to make sure that the safety was there, and this all meets those requirements. And Chief, correct me if I'm wrong, when you started the process initially 3 or 4 years ago, just to do an assessment, were they involved with that then? Or was there
Yes,
another?
They're the ones that did the needs assessment.
So they did the original needs assessment. So they've pretty much been involved with the process for 3 years already?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Well, again, I'll bring it up that, we tried to suspend last time, but we wanted to give the public the opportunity to come forward with questions. There hasn't been any. It's been almost a month. So I once again request that we suspend the 3 readings.
Second.
Second.
I'm watching. Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman McDaniels?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
Councilman Stahl?
Yes. Move to adopt.
Second.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Councilman McDaniels?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
Okay, Resolution 145-24 is passed. On to amended Resolution 147-24. I get a motion to read by title and number.
So moved.
Second.
Amended Resolution 147-24, sponsored by Michael Norman. A resolution amending 151-23, establishing a trap, spay, neuter return program.
Okay, so, yes, this is, we already had a program in place. We've just kind of, we're making some adjustments. We're increasing the amounts that we're going to reimburse. It was 10, now it's 20. The per neuter, I think we stayed the same with 10. The flea treatment went up from 8 to 11. And then we're going to give up to $105 if euthanasia is called for. The only question I have about this right now is during the meeting that we had, the 2 people who showed up were going to get with us on how the program would kind of be ran. Have they updated us with anything yet, or?
They have reached back out to us. If you look at when this legislation was first brought to council,
Yeah.
those numbers are different. So you're going to have to make a motion to amend to use these new numbers.
Use these
That came from them.
Okay.
So, yeah, they've gotten with us. They really haven't talked to me about how the program works, but they did notice that the prices were not what they have in place, and they asked to change them. So
Okay. I thought we amended it last.
I just have a note that the law director said it needs to be amended. I don't remember.
Okay. Well, I make a motion we amend for the current prices suggested. For,
The amended legislation's up there.
Oh, you already have it?
Yeah.
well, there we go.
Right, but
We still had
But
to,
it
amended
differs
again.
from when it was first brought to council, so
so
you
we
have
still
to,
had to vote.
yeah, they still have to make that amendment according
Okay.
to the law director.
I make a motion we amend to the current prices that are listed in the resolution.
Second.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman McDaniels?
No.
Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
That has been amended. What are council's wishes on this? Leave it on?
Yeah, leave it on.
All right. On to new business. Resolution 149-24. Can I get a motion to read by title and number?
So moved.
Second.
Resolution 149-24, sponsored by Andrew Hitt, a resolution increasing appropriations.
So this is money that was donated by Eagles for the fire department in the amount of $750. And it needs to be appropriated in order for them to be able to utilize those funds.
I'll make a motion to suspend the three reading rule.
I'll second. That was Rich and me.
Thought that was your voice. Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
Councilman Mike McDaniel?
Yes.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
I'm sorry, who's second?
I-
John?
Who's on?
Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes. Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman McDaniel?
Yes.
Resolution 149-24 is passed. On to Resolution 150-24. Can I get a motion to read by title and number?
So moved.
Second.
Resolution 150-24, sponsored by Andrew Hitt, a resolution increasing appropriations.
So this is money that was donated in the amount of $7,000 by the Cobra Club to the fire department. And it just needs to be appropriated also so that it could be utilized.
Well, first of all, I want to thank the Cobras. They've come to London for so many years. They generally make a donation. If it's not this amount, it's close to it every single year. I mean, it's a large donation. They've done this for I don't know how many years now.
I think it's up $3,000 this year.
It's up $3,000 this year, but it's a large donation. They're very kind. I know that they appreciate the fact that we let them set up and do their runs up North Main Street. They draw a lot of people, but I'm in an organization, you know, it's a civic and charitable organization, the Lions Club, and I really appreciate when people make these donations. We do that, and this club, when they do that to the city, I just think that's, you know, it's really nice. I just wanted to thank them for that. And I'll let you have the floor, Mr. Hayes.
Make a motion to suspend the three reading rule.
Second.
Second.
Councilman McDaniel?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman Stahl?
Yes. Move to adopt.
Second.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman McDaniel?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Resolution
Can I
1,
just say something real fast? Back when the Cobra Show started, we, at the Strawberry Fest, we won the car show. We got hold of Jen, I can't forget his name, at the lake. And that was the beginning of this, and it's just turned into something wonderful for the city and everything. So just wanted you to know, just from an idea of a car show, and it's turned into such a nice thing. So I just wanted everybody to know.
all right. Resolution 150-24 is passed. On to Resolution 151-24. Can I get a motion to read by title and number?
So moved.
Second.
Resolution 151-24, sponsored by Andrew Hitt, a resolution increasing appropriations.
So this is also a donation by the Cobra Club of $7,000 to the police department. And just needs appropriated so they can utilize those funds.
Suspend it.
Make the motion to suspend the three reading rule.
A second.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Councilman McDaniel?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Okay, you guys are going to tell me how low.
Stall. Norman.
Okay. Uncle John, you need to speak up. Please. Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman McDaniel?
Yes.
Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
Resolution 151-24 is passed. On to Resolution 152-24. That gives motion to read by title number, please.
So moved.
Second.
Resolution 152-24, sponsored by Shannon Trainer. Resolution increasing appropriations.
Greg, I'm gonna let you.
Oh. Let me pull that page up exactly. So this is money that just needs to be reappropriated. It was appropriated before, but it wasn't spent. It must be reappropriated now for expenditure, and this is to pay for the salt barn. This is the new salt barn, correct? It's just additional cost. Well, it's not additional, it's just money that wasn't spent. So where are we at on the salt barn, Mr. Castle?
This money's for core samples that has to be done before they can put the foundation and stuff in to
Okay.
support that. And Bill put in a rec last year for a company to do the bore sampling. They never did show up and do it. So he decided to go with somebody else. So that's why it needs to be reappropriated, because you can't change the name on an appropriation. So he has to go with another contractor. And, so this is what's holding him up. I think he's got pretty much everything else ready to go. It's just got those core samples has to be done to make sure the ground's going to be able to support the building.
Oh, you do want that to support the building.
Amen.
Yeah, the other one fell down.
I don't think Mr. Trainer will be upset. I'm going to go ahead and make motion to suspend the three reading rule on it.
Second.
I'm sorry, who seconded that?
John.
Council.
Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
Councilman McDaniel?
Yes.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman McDaniel?
Yes.
Resolution 152-24 is passed. On to Resolution 153-24. Get a motion to read by title number.
So moved.
Second.
Resolution 153-24, sponsored by Andrew Hitt, a resolution increasing appropriations.
Actually sponsored by Shannon. 15324?
I'll do it. So it was sponsored by Shannon. This was, as Mr. Boyd asked earlier about the Third Ward Storm Sewer Project. If you don't remember, we have an old storm sewer that runs underneath buildings that we can't get to. So they're going to run this line, a separate line. They're going to separate the water at some point. It's going to still use and utilize the old storm sewer. We're going to put a new one in adjacent to it, but it's not going to go under any properties. This way we can maintain it and be able to use it moving forward. Hopefully that helps eliminate some of the problems we have with storm sewer or storm water, at least on that end of town. I did ask a couple questions during the finance meeting, and I'll let Mr. Castle correct me if I'm wrong about this. This was originally put out to bid. I believe the original amount was almost $2.6 million. We have a $700,000 grant that's available to us. We also have applied for a loan for $1.8 million. Is that correct, Mr. Castle? Yes. So the account currently has almost $1,248,000 in it right now, and we're just appropriating $600,000 so that project can be started and the city can be reimbursed out of the grant. So I'd hate to see this be delayed anymore. I'll move that we suspend the rules.
Does it have an emergency clause?
It does not.
No. Second.
Does it need one?
If you suspend and pass, that's going to be
You got
30
time?
days. I don't think we'll be getting any bills because they haven't started moving dirt yet.
Okay.
So I don't think emergency is necessary if you suspend and pass.
I have Eads and McDaniels. Councilman McDaniels,
Yes.
Councilman Norman,
Yes.
Councilman Hayes,
Yes.
Councilman Eads,
Yes.
Councilman Hitt,
Yes.
Councilman Stahl.
Yes. Move to adopt.
Second.
Councilman Eads,
Yes.
Councilman Hayes,
Yes.
Councilman Hitt,
Yes.
Councilman McDaniels,
Yes.
Councilman Norman,
Yes.
Councilman Stahl.
Yes.
Resolution 153-24 is passed. On to Resolution 154-24. Can I get a motion to read by title and number?
So moved.
Second.
I'll have to look on here because somebody whited out the name, sorry. Okay, Resolution 154-24, sponsored by Andrew Hitt, a resolution increasing appropriations.
So the city has expended funds to remove some trees around town, and they wanted to appropriate $15,000 from the tree commission fund or line in order to pay for those services.
I have an additional note on that. $40,000 was appropriated at the start of the year. $27,000 has been spent to date. $7,000 more has been encumbered. That puts them at $34,000 of the total 40 that's either been spent or about to be spent. So that's why they're asking for the additional funds. There's not an emergency clause. It didn't seem like this was an emergency at all, that the money, they'll have it if they need it, but, so, whether you want to keep it on or suspend the rules tonight, I don't think it's going to be a big deal either way.
I'll make a motion to suspend the three reading rules then.
Second.
Councilman Hitt,
Yes.
Councilman McDaniels,
Yes.
Councilman Stahl,
Yes.
Councilman Eads,
Yes.
Councilman Hayes,
Yes.
Councilman Norman.
Yes. Make a motion to adopt.
Second.
Councilman Stahl,
Yes.
Councilman Norman,
Yes.
Councilman McDaniels,
Yes.
Councilman Hitt,
Yes.
Councilman Hayes,
Yes.
Councilman Eads.
Yes.
Okay, Resolution 154-24 is passed. On to Resolution 155-24. Can I get a motion to read by title and number?
So moved.
Second.
Resolution 155-24, sponsored by Brent McDaniels, a resolution increasing appropriations.
Yeah, this is for the Parks and Rec. They're in need of new trash cans and picnic tables. The picnic tables are going to Merrimack, and most of the trash cans, right? We're going to- Yeah, yeah. So this should help it. They're not cheap, but they're strong. They're not wooden ones. The kind with the
The discussion in the service meeting was that these couldn't be vandalized or
Right.
marked up and would hold up better than other types of tables. These are kind of a steel mesh with a plastic coating. Is that right? Yeah.
Are they the same as the shelter house, the ones in the shelter house we have now at Cowling? Do you want, I talk all the time, go ahead.
I do too.
You notice?
So I'd like to add to the discussion, this may have already been in the plans for the rec or for your committee, but I received a call from Joyce Baird because her family does go out to Merrimack and like to use that shelter house, and she had noticed the tables were gone. So I sent an email to Mr. McKenzie and the administration, just asking if there was any updates because I believe she had talked to the mayor before. I talked to her again yesterday. She wants to thank the committee and the rec department and city council for being so quickly, taking care of this so quickly. She said for the first time in her life, she thinks that the government's worked for her. So she wanted to thank everybody if we pass this legislation.
Amen.
So I do have a question. Where are we appropriating this from? Is it within the Parks and Rec's budget line already, or are we taking it out of the general fund and putting it into the Parks and Recreation Fund?
You would be increasing Parks and Rec's budget, which comes out of the general fund.
Now, can I ask why we're increasing by 22,000?
The feeling was he didn't have sufficient budget to handle that unless he waited till the end of the year, see if he has funds left over.
Because here's why I question, and I hate to bring this word up again because it causes ruckus, but when we talked about the pickleball courts, we were going to fund like 60% of that out of his budget, and then we were going to supplement him to get that done. So my question is, that was $130,000, and he had 60% of it. So we've got something that's only $22,000. I'm not sure why we're having to appropriate for something.
The reason is it was mentioned that we could take it out of the Parks and Playground Fund, but finance thought it would be better to take it out of general. It wasn't never mentioned to take it out of Parks and Playground, so, or it was brought up, but we didn't go there.
I just don't, I mean, if you've got the money in the actual Parks and Recs, I just don't see the reason to pull it out of general fund.
I probably, well, okay, let me back up. I know why it wasn't. No, I don't know why it wasn't. That was capital. I don't know.
Mr. McKenzie, did you have?
Would you like to?
So back to the pickleball, out of the actual Parks and Rec budget, I think was 15,000. So not the full amount. There was a chunk coming out of the Parks and Playground Fund. So not. But as far as when we talked about my current budget and stuff like that, basically once all the expenses are paid that kind of deal with the pool, the utilities, the chemical deliveries, the concessions, everything like that, then I'd have a better idea of where, what money is left over for projects like this. But now we're looking into probably October, everything will be settled. Then you're in a 4 to 6 week possible wait period to get deliveries of picnic tables. So now we're into winter, stuff like that. The talk of getting money from the general fund basically and adding to it would basically allow for a purchase now, get them before the fall hits. You know, currently, right now, the trash cans at all the ball diamonds are the 55-gallon drums. Trash bags don't stay in them, nothing like that. So we're constantly trying to, you know, take them, drive them up to sanitation, dump them off, stuff like that. The picnic tables, that shutter house back there by the ball diamonds, we had to dispose of those. They were so unsafe, you know, stuff like that, so we got rid of them. And then the two that are up there at the Merrimack, they're, you know, past their use, they're old, they're wooden tops, stuff like that too. So trying to replace everything there, spruce it up a little bit, and we felt, you know, talking with Brent and Andy, that the quickest way to kind of get these would be to appropriate money so we can make the purchase right away.
Okay, thank you.
Michael, have you seen the money that they take in taxes? They need some picnic tables.
Just that.
They're bad shape.
Just that, but I'm not negative. I just wanted to.
Just to clarify, the general fund currently has an unencumbered balance as of the end of June of $3.2 million.
That's what I'm saying. Well, I don't care how much is there. If it's in your budget, you can spend it.
I understand.
I don't care if we have.
We might need to get more tables next year.
I just want to make sure we're not overfunding, so we don't need to.
I appreciate that.
Thank you, Mr. McKenzie. Thank you, Rick. I make a motion that we suspend the 3 reading rule.
Second.
I don't think you wanted to. Rex? You didn't need to do that, did you?
What's that?
Did you need to suspend the three reading rules for this?
Why not?
Didn't think.
It's already on
Depends,
the
I
board.
mean-
You can vote no if you want to.
It doesn't have an emergency on it, so if you suspend, he's got to wait 30 days, so we're in
So-
August of buying them. If
It
you
would-
wait if you wait till you do your 3 readings, it'll be the end of August, then
Right.
30 days, and it'll be at the
Yeah.
end of September, you'll be in October again, so it's whatever.
I make the motion to suspend the free reading rule.
Second.
Thank you.
Who's second?
Brad, thanks.
Never move your lips so I can't see.
So just one of many talents.
Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman Stahl?
Yes, move to adopt.
Second.
Or McDaniels?
Yes.
Sorry, I was on the wrong list.
Second.
And who seconded the adopt?
Right.
Councilman McDaniel?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Okay, Resolution 155-24 is passed. On to Resolution 156-24. Can I get a motion to read by title and number?
So moved.
Second.
Resolution 156-24, sponsored by Brent McDaniels, a resolution authorizing the auditor to increase appropriations and transfer funds.
This is for the purchase of for building a salt barn, right?
It's $150,000 for the roof of the salt dome,
The
which
roof of
is
the dome,
needing
right.
repaired,
Yeah.
and $30,000 for the
It's
beet
not,
juice
not,
system.
not for the Beetlejuice. They're separate though. Yeah. The beet juice.
So
No,
there's
so
two
it's
separate
100.
items, but
Yeah.
within one transfer?
Yeah, the 2 items are in the transfer. That should only be transfer. We should probably amend that and take out increase appropriations because she has to appropriate them separately.
That's why I threw.
So can we maybe, she was supposed to get that sent to you, she didn't get it to you. Okay, so unfortunately, you'll have to amend that and take out the increase appropriations part. It's just a transfer of
It
funds.
says transfer capital.
Huh?
It says transfer capital fund.
Capital
It
purchase.
doesn't say increase appropriations? What she read,
Does-
Oh, up top, but in the,
Yeah.
okay.
you gotta take that out.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
So I make a motion, we amend to take out increased appropriations.
Second.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman McDaniels?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Anything else on this?
Is there any reason we should keep it on for 3 reasons? 3 readings?
No, we need to make a motion to suspend the 3 reading rule.
Is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
I'll second.
Yeah. It's in bad shape.
All right. I'll second.
We got salt out there, just wasting away.
Yeah. It's
So,
I got that.
okay.
I was just waiting for him to stop. Councilman Eads?
It's wasting away, huh? We need to do it.
Yes, it's in real bad shape.
Every time it rains.
Okay. Yes.
Councilman McDaniels?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
yes.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
You ever been hit?
Make a motion to adopt.
Second.
Your car. When that salt sits out there.
Councilman Hitt?
Makes me
Yes.
go try to use it.
Councilman
South
McDaniels?
Fenders. Yes.
Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
Okay, Resolution 156-24 is passed. On to Resolution 157-24. Okay, motion to read by title and number.
So moved.
Second.
Resolution 157-24, sponsored by Brent McDaniels, a resolution increasing appropriations.
And this is so he can put the pump on the truck to spread beet juice in the wintertime, right?
Just to pump it.
This is to buy the storage tank.
The storage tank
At
for
the
it.
street department to store the
Right.
beet juice in. They equip most of their trucks, the new ones that they got, they
Okay.
equipped them with the system.
So we're on 157?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so we just appropriated the money, now we have to spend it.
approved to spend, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have half of it, you know, to spread the juice, maybe it is part of it.
What are council's wishes?
Make a motion to suspend the three reading rule.
Second.
Wait a minute.
I
If
can't,
you can't hear him, he said second.
Yeah.
no, I can hear, I just can't read lips. I'm looking at everybody's lips. All right, Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
Councilman McDaniels?
Yes.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman McDaniels?
Yes.
Resolution 157-24 is passed. On to Resolution 158-24. Can I get a motion to read by title and number?
So moved.
Second.
Resolution 158-24, sponsored by Brent McDaniels, a resolution increasing appropriations.
We transferred the funds, you gonna spend the money now?
Yes. Yep. They need it.
And this is to purchase a new salt dome. road.
Right.
It's
Well-
separate from the salt building. It's a
Right.
salt dome roof.
All of our salt's wasting, and then when they do use it, it takes out people's windows when they get hit with it. It's hard.
Make a motion to suspend the three reading rule.
Second.
Councilman McDaniels?
Yes.
Councilman Norm?
Oh, yes.
Norman?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman Stahl?
Yes. Move to adopt.
Second.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman
that money.
McDaniels?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Okay, Resolution 158-24 is passed. This next resolution, I'm going to let Greg preside over that.
President Peters is recusing himself from this discussion as his property abuts some of this property. Resolution 159-24, I'll take a motion to read by title and number.
So moved.
Second.
Resolution 159-24, sponsored by Josh Peters, a resolution adopting the recommendations of the Planning Commission. Oh, okay, I was going to say, wait a second. It's empty on the page.
Mr. Castle is on the Planning Commission. Would you like to give us an update from the Planning Commission's perspective?
Yes, this preliminary plan was brought to planning in our last planning session. We reviewed the plan. Bring it back down, please. We did pass it with the following stipulations to make sure that all the lots meet or exceed 5,625 square feet. That's the minimum square footage that you can have on a lot in a PUD. The PUD plan must comply with stormwater regulations, which was passed by council in ordinance 146.43, and also that all other requirements listed on the city council's codified ordinance section 1262.10, paragraph I, for the final development plan. This was basically the plot that was previously Lexington Green, which council has approved several months, years ago, I guess, and it's been brought back by a new developer. I think it's a good thing for the city. We're making stormwater improvements in our infrastructure that's set to be starting next year to go in to be able to handle this increase in development in that area. Any other questions?
So 159-24 146.43 of the ordinance regarding stormwater regulations. Had we just updated that recently?
Yes,
Yeah, that's what I thought.
last year.
That was this year, in fact.
Was it dash 20, go back up, Chris, was those stipulations?
Should it be 146.43, 146.23?
23. One, yeah, it should be 23, it was last year.
23.
So it was in 23.
Yeah,
So it's 146.
no, it's a typo, it should say 146-23, not 43.
Okay. But these are updated regulations specifically to deal with these things that was brought to council. Okay. Mr. Gross, you've waited very patiently. Would you like to address council about this?
I don't want to get my Rex for using this microphone.
Oh, he knows you'll keep it for a while.
I also have Paul Gross, and I also have my civil engineer, Steve Hermiller, with Manick and Smith Group here as well, if there's any questions about stormwater, just water retention and things of that nature that we've been very mindful of with this project. As it has been mentioned, this was previously Lexington Green under the ownership of NTB that had already passed council. We've made some modifications based on developers' requests. I was just at a MORBC meeting yesterday up in St. Gilead, and their housing is one of the primary issues confronting Central Ohio. London is a part of Central Ohio and therefore not immune to the housing needs. I will tell you that we've worked very diligently to try and bring good product to London. So there's a tremendous demand for London. But I think one of the things that is going to be really important for this community is to make sure that we're thoughtful about what we bring to town. And diversity in housing, I think, is really the key component, just so that you don't have a lot of product that looks identical and serves only a specific niche inside of that. So at London Landing, we have some, first-time home buyers, which certainly is proving that there's a need for that based on how fast that product's going. This particular site is going to be built by D.R. Horton. D.R. Horton has a unique business model in that they come in, and when they buy 50 lots, they build 50 homes, and then they sell those homes. Whereas Arbor Homes will first sell you a home, then go build it. So what that means is those homes will immediately hit the tax base of the community. I have spent a considerable amount of time both with the residents and homeowners going door to door, inviting them to the Butcher Block for an open meeting outside of the public meetings that are required by code. I've spent time with the school systems, making sure that the schools can handle and embrace and are welcoming of this growth. Dr. Kramer actually butts up to where this growth will be, and as the superintendent of schools and as a neighbor, he welcomes that. I'm not here to speak for him, but I will tell you that we've had those conversations. At the planning and zoning meeting, only 3 people came to the public hearing because of all of the communication that we put in into engaging those neighbors. 2 people were supportive of the project, and they were adjoining neighbors because we did incorporate the modifications that they requested through our preliminary discussion when we first exposed the public to this. And then secondarily, the other gentleman had not been to those meetings, wasn't home or didn't get the flyer or what have you when I was going door to door, and he was just to observe, and he did not object to the project. He just had questions for it. So we really had no dissent from that standpoint. It is a big development for certain, and so D.R. Horton is going to be the first component of it. M.I. Homes is going to be the second. So those D.R. Horton homes will come in at about the $450,000 price range, and the M.I. Homes will be a higher price range, going up to $650,000. So we are getting a nice diversity of housing through this process. I think importantly, we made some changes to the previous plans that would create an artery onto 38, so that anyone who drives through London knows that 42 gets busy at times, right? And so one of the reasons is how that is designed, that we all get on 48 to get to the interstate if we're going to the east. We've intentionally put a curb cut on 38 so that we can take that traffic both off of Kenny and off of 42 so that they can go down 38 and get out of town before there's any traffic lights or before they have to navigate through that, and make sure that we've got a thoughtful traffic pattern for them. Kenny was, in fact, built to handle this traffic, but nevertheless, it's right across from the school and in a school zone. And, I think people will avoid those school zones when possible if you give them an alternative outlet. And, we talk to the neighbors who are directly affected. I would say, if not unanimous, darn close. All of them said, man, I wish there was a buffer. I wish it didn't back up to my yards. And so we put in a 30-foot buffer that was not, required by code, but just to be good neighbors so that their space and these homes don't back up to people who've lived in town for 20 or 25 years and feel like it's an invasion, even though, this has always been, well, not always been zone PUD, but zone PUD for as long as I've lived in this community. So we've tried to be thoughtful in terms of the planning. I think the testimony is the fact that we got support from the neighbors rather than, outrage. You're always going to find people who dissent because it's not in my backyard. But in any event, we're trying to do what we can to be good citizens of the community and be thoughtful with the school, be thoughtful with the neighbors, have something that's accretive and good for the overall community. I would tell you this will also strengthen our hospital. It will also strengthen, our retail services and things of that nature. I recently sold the outlot in front of Walmart that's next to DQ in the urgent care there to a medical office building that the hospital will ultimately have. And one of the reasons is, hey, we see things are happening in London. So, people can say, why don't we have this or why don't we have that? It's largely because we haven't had growth for a long time, and so there can be a lot of good that comes with that. So that's just a general summary. I appreciate your time. You have far many two things on your agenda. So I'm teasing with that, of course, but if there's any questions, I'd be happy to entertain them.
800 homes altogether in this?
870 is currently outlined, but that is a preliminary number. Yeah.
And from the original plan or the original PUD that MTB had, how many homes did they have?
I don't know that number right offhand because it was different in the sense that they had commercial along 38 rather than us creating the corridor or the artery there. So there were some number less, maybe 100 less or something along those lines if I'm estimating. But keep in mind that they had 30 some acres that were not residential, they were commercial. So really it's reasonably consistent, but somewhat larger.
Where the cutouts were off of Kenny, what they anticipated roads to be put in, those will still be utilized?
They will be utilized along Kenny, and we'll have additional on 38 to help that traffic flow. And I think if you think about it and just step back for a minute, and as you analyze that, I think having that cut on 38 is so nice because look, everyone in London gets on I-70, right? Like we use I-70 sort of for our daily activities, and you're either going to the east or you're going to the west. And if they can get out on 38 and jump on 40 to get to 56 if they're heading to the west, or get on 40 to head to 42 to get to the east, it really is great traffic relief for the community. And I think that's going to be, very well embraced.
I just want to say something. At the public meeting, there's a lot of people. Nobody complained. I told Paul he must have done his homework. Nobody complained. It was just fascinating.
But that was the Public Planning Commission meeting.
That's correct.
Right. So
don't jinx it.
Just a moment. I just want to ask Mr. Castle, will it be necessary to have a public hearing here? Is there a substantial change? So that's not noted here, so we will have a public hearing.
Jennifer put a sticky note on the.
September
Just got it.
September 5th. Okay. So this was
5 or 1-5?
5th. September 5th at our regular council meeting, we'll have a public hearing that night. And that should be, well, would that be our third or fourth reading?
Fourth.
Yeah, fourth. Well, you're going to have to be patient, but we're going to have an extra meeting. Any other questions for Mr. Gross at this time or for his engineer?
Are you allowed to, you can move dirt now? He can do some things now or not?
We could do so at our own risk, technically, but we've got soybeans in that field, and we'll wait till them soybeans are off before we move any dirt.
Any further questions at this time? Nope. Hopefully we can share these documents. Thank you for sharing those with us.
Thank you for your time.
We'll leave that on for the next reading. I'll turn the chair back over.
All right, on to Resolution 160-24. Can I get a motion to read by title number?
So moved.
Ordinance 160-24, sponsored by Rich Hayes, an ordinance amending section 1248 of the codified ordinance.
Okay, this is an ordinance that's amending 1248 of the codified ordinances. What it is doing is allowing a veterinary office to go into a space where it was originally set up for either a kennel or a pet shop. So we've added the veterinary clinic to that, and we have somebody that wants to.
They have already come and applied for a variance to be allowed, so that's passed. They could go in there. The question was, why isn't, because there's a boarding and kennels were listed in the permitted uses, why wouldn't we have veterinary clinics in there? So the feeling was we want to add veterinary clinics as a permitted use for B3 zoning.
And this says a central business district such as the downtown. Is that area defined?
What, B3?
Yeah. Do we have a designation that it runs from Oak Street across Main over to Union or?
I mean, it's designated on the website. I don't know if we have a geographic outline in street terms or anything, but it's laid out. It's excluding the historic district. I think it goes just, what would that be? East of the historic district, heading on out High Street. So I'm not sure what the exact coordinates of streets are. But, B3's there, but B3 can be other places too. I'm not sure where all it's located, that zoning.
Are you suspended? Are you suspended?
So we're just adding we're adding veterinary clinic to 1248.077, the B3 district.
For permitted use, yes.
Yes.
Any other questions? If not, I'll go ahead and make a motion to suspend the 3 reading rule on it.
Second.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Councilman McDaniels?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman McDaniels?
Yes.
Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, ordinance 160-24 is passed. On to ordinance 161-24. Can I get a motion to read by title number?
So moved.
Second.
Ordinance 161-24, sponsored by Andrew Hitt, an ordinance amending section 1042 of the codified ordinances.
So this ordinance plus the next, or the 6 following, whatever, 5 following, all have to do with BPU and the the Midwest,
Mid-Ohio.
Mid-Ohio, sorry, transfer or changes, amendments in ordinances based on VPU being switched to Mid-Ohio. And I'll let Rex kind of detail these if you can.
Yeah, the 161, 162, 163, and 165 basically removes references to charge rates for water tap fees, sewer tap fees, water charges, sewer processing charges. It basically takes those out because we no longer have those two entities that went to Mid-Ohio. So we're removing those out of those codified ordinances. 164 removes the supervision of sanitation of the BPU board and puts it under the supervision of the safety service director.
So I do have a question. I mean, we're amending this to say all water services, piping, tapping fees, capacity charges, maintenance, and all other water-related services shall be managed and operated by Mid-Ohio, and all water systems shall be subject to the regional and district rules and regulations. Do we even need that? I mean, can we just kill the entire section and remove it?
That would be a law question. I don't know. In theory, I would say yes, but like I said, I don't know legally if we have to say our water services are handled by another
Okay.
entity. It would help if somebody's looking in it and they're looking up things to do with water inside the city, and see that, oh, the city doesn't have anything to do with it, I gotta go to Mid-Ohio.
Okay. I appreciate the clarification.
What's 166? You're explaining them all.
166. 166
Strength.
It's the strength
has to do
ordinance.
with the strength ordinances because we don't need
We're just gonna
employees
take
in
it
the
down.
water, sewer, and I guess I should have included that too, sorry.
Can't you just?
So what are council's wishes on this?
Make a motion to suspend the three reading rule on it.
Go through everyone.
Second.
Yeah, because they're different sections.
Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
Councilman McDaniels?
Yes.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Oh, I missed it.
John and Michael?
John? Second. I'm second.
Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman McDaniels?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 161-24 is passed. On to ordinance 162-24. Can I get a motion to read by title and number?
So moved.
Second.
Ordinance 162-24, sponsored by Andrew Hitt, an ordinance amending section 1044 of the codified ordinances.
So this has to do with the sewer department? Sewer services, taps, charges, permits? Due to the transfer to Mid-Ohio?
What are council's wishes?
Make a motion to suspend three reading rule on it.
Second.
Councilman McDaniels?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman Stahl?
Yes. Move to adopt.
Second.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman McDaniels?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 162-24 is passed. On to ordinance 163-24. Can I get a motion to read by title and number?
So moved.
Second.
Ordinance 164-24, sponsored by Andrew Hitt, an ordinance amending section 1060 of the codified ordinance.
So this is in reference to the collection, treatment, disposal, wastewater, and it'll be managed by Mid-Ohio Water Sewer District.
Motion to suspend 3 reading rule on it.
Second.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Councilman McDaniels?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
Councilman Stahl?
Yes, move to adopt.
Second.
Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
Councilman McDaniels?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 164-24 is passed. On to ordinance 165-24. Okay, motion to read by title number.
So moved.
Second.
Ordinance 165-24, sponsored by Andrew Hitt, an ordinance amending section 1048 of the codified ordinances.
This also has to do with transfer of services to Mid-Ohio. Is this 164?
It's 165.
Yeah.
Did we do one?
Did we do 164?
I think you
I think
skipped
we skipped
164.
Skip one, I think.
Yeah, we did. I thought so too.
I can read it again. Ordinance 164-24, sponsored by Andrew Hitt, an ordinance amending section 1060 of the codified ordinances.
There we go.
Okay. So this has to do with the transfer to Mid-Ohio, or amendments related to that.
And this also transfers the supervision to Safety Service Director for the sanitation? Is that this one?
Is that right, Rex? 164?
That's
164,
166.
yeah. 164 is to transfer sanitation to the SSD. Yes.
All right.
You're right, I'm wrong.
No, you're,
They're starting to run together.
yeah. Well, this was a big endeavor, so.
Make a motion to suspend the 3 reading rule if nobody has any questions on it.
Second.
Councilman Eads? Need to eat.
Yes, I have questions, but I'll say yes to the suspension for the time being.
Councilman McDaniels?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
You got a question?
I do. So, I mean, in this, it shall be the duty of the, we've crossed out Board of Public Utilities, it should be the duty of the Safety Service Director to provide for all solid waste collection from each single family, blah, blah, blah. So all of this allows you to make the rules, Mr. Castle, is that correct?
I believe so, yes.
Instead of council creating any rules, you're going to do that.
I believe the Board of Public Utilities made the rules. Council only set rates, not rules.
Well, but the Board of Public Utilities no longer exists.
Right, so therefore it would fall on me to set rules,
Would that
which,
also,
which they have rules already. Les and I are looking at maybe tweaking it a little bit, but I'm not looking to change anything as far as collection of sanitation.
but if there's any rates increased, it'll still come before council?
Council
Yes.
has to approve
Okay,
it.
Yeah, we have to.
just making sure. Make a motion to adopt.
A second.
Did he say yes, did he? Did he say yes?
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman McDaniels?
Yes.
Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Councilman Eads?
No?
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 164-24 is passed. On to ordinance 165-24. Can I get a motion to read by title and number?
So moved.
Second.
Ordinance 165-24, sponsored by Andrew Hitt, an ordinance amending section 1048 of the codified ordinances.
So this has to do with setting charges. They would be set by the Mid-Ohio Sewer and Water District.
I'll move to suspend.
Second.
Trickster. Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
Councilman McDaniels?
Yes.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Councilman, all right, I lost track. Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman McDaniels?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 165-24 is passed. On to ordinance 166-24. Can I get a motion to read by title and number?
So moved.
Second.
Ordinance 166-24, sponsored by Andrew Hitt, an ordinance for strengths of on-job descriptions.
So this would basically be eliminating BPU positions other than sanitation. So it would be a reduction in employees.
So this will supersede anything before that because you're setting a new strength ordinance.
Correct. I mean, nothing else has changed except for removing water and sewer. I believe
I'm a little confused just on the language that maybe we should have caught before. And it's down in the positions. So street worker 2/street worker 1, not to exceed 7 with assistant superintendent and foreman, or not to exceed 8 with assistant superintendent or foreman. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for, is or instead of and. And not to exceed 9 without assistant super and street superintendent or foreman. So we're just saying they have a strength ordinance of really what? Because that's flexible, right? I guess I was just confused by the language, not to exceed 7 street workers with an assistant superintendent and a foreman.
So it would be 9 would be the total for the street department.
Okay.
Now, since you said that, I'm questioning the bottom one, not to exceed 9 without assistant street department and foreman, that should say. If it's 8, not to exceed 8 with an assistant superintendent or a foreman, right?
Yeah, it should be 8.
Well,
Should be not 9 without, if they don't have a assistant superintendent or a foreman,
They should
this
have
number
9.
should
Should
be
add 9.
It should say and foreman, not or foreman.
No, it's saying
No,
it's saying if you have an assistant street superintendent or foreman, so one or the other, not to exceed 9. The 8 is,
The 8 says the exact same thing as 9.
no. 8 says not to exceed with an assistant. 9
yeah.
says not to exceed 9 without.
Right. Not to exceed 8 with a superintendent or foreman, that's 9. Not to exceed 9 without a street superintendent. It can't have either one of them, is what I'm trying to say. Is or the right word, without? You can't have a street superintendent, the maximum number is 9,
Period.
period. So, I'm not sure if the wording's right, maybe it is right. Without assistant seats, okay, it's right, never mind, without changes the reference of a word.
Right, and then
I'm sorry.
I have an additional question on recreation. Do we have a maintenance worker? I mean, we have a director, an assistant, and a maintenance worker, but the rec assistants that we have, which is Tammy now, that's within a part-time group?
she's part-time.
Right,
that's-
So it's not in,
fall
it's
under
not in
strength.
this?
Yeah.
It's not in
Fall under
this?
strength.
Okay.
Yeah.
But do we have a maintenance worker anyway?
Nope. Oh, that's her.
Oh, okay, okay. I just thought if we're looking at this, we can look at all of them real quick. but-
Yeah.
And not to exceed 20 sworn officers in the police department? Is that right? Oh, that's what it says.
I mean, nothing on this has changed except the removal of water and sewer, so
Okay,
it was previously passed before with water and sewer. All she did was take water and sewer off, so
okay.
I don't think don't think anybody's trying to sneak anything in there.
No, I didn't think that. I just thought maybe if it need cleaned up, if we had extra people that didn't need to be there.
Well, there are numbers there that there aren't people, I will say that. We're not full strength in all departments.
Right.
Glenn's not, sanitation's not, fire department's not, so dispatchers.
And also the building.
The what?
What, so explain building to me. Building, it says building inspector, class 3, or chief building officials 1, executive assistants 1. We don't have a building department anymore, do we?
If for some reason, West Jeff decided to break their contract with us, we would need them, so therefore they're there. Right now, we're contracting all those services out. We do not have a.
So those are not filled positions.
Right.
We don't intend to fill those.
No, I hope not.
Okay.
We're going to need a lot more money if we do.
We could what?
We will need a lot more money if we do.
Might make a lot more money too. Okay, there you've answered my questions. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Are we on suspension? I make a motion to suspend the 3 reading rule.
Second.
Councilman McDaniels?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman Stahl?
Yes, move to adopt.
Second.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman McDaniels?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 166-24 is passed. On to roundtable. First off, I want to thank Greg and Michael for putting these chairs together.
Amen.
Chris, do you like your chair?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Also thank everybody that came out tonight. Also want to thank council for pushing all these ordinance and resolutions through tonight. Make our load a little easier come August. I know that month off buried us tonight. But again, thank you. That's all I have. John, I'll start with you tonight.
Okay, thank everybody for coming. We had a lot on our plate. We got a lot done, and thank everybody. And one thing I want to mention about the tree bit, since there's so many storms and high winds anymore, we've looked at a lot of our trees over the years, just ones that are visibly bad, had a crack in it or a hole or something, taking them out. We had them check some of the taller ones that you get inside and look, and they was bad, so we had them taken down, and some of them been good size, and that's what's trying to alleviate something. Because most of the pictures you see on TV, damage happened, and if it's not somebody, most of them is somebody that should have been taken out before. And we're trying to get where we don't have that along the street. You're going to get small branches and stuff like that, scattered stuff, but we're trying not to have any big trees. Some people in their yards need to take some out. There's a few bad ones around town. But that's why we had that extra listed. Thank you.
Michael?
Yes, I'd like to thank everybody who came out, and I like to see when people come out and speak up. That's great. I would like to say we've had a interesting week politically, and I just want to say that I hope everyone out there understands the difference between political beliefs and human life, and that we can all, and we do it up here all the time, we can all disagree, but at the end of the day, we can still treat each other with respect and as a human being. And I hope moving forward in our election across the nation that people take hold of that and we don't have another incident on either side of the aisle that we had over the weekend. Other than that, I hope everybody has good health, good wealth, and I'll see you at the next meeting.
I just want to say one. Back when I was early on council years ago, Russ Walls was president of council, and he always told us we may disagree on things, but we should leave as friends. And I've always tried to do that, and I hope all of us do.
Yeah, I appreciate council passing everything that they did tonight, and I'm looking forward to the new police station. I'm sure Chief is looking forward to that as well. That's about it. Thanks.
Rich?
Been a long night. I just want to go back and reiterate on Mike's, what he said. And I'll tell you, I love these guys up here. You've done a hell of a job tonight. Come together, we got this stuff done, and we got a lot of good things done for the city tonight. But there's no room anywhere for what we had to witness Saturday evening. I don't care if it'd been the other person, there's no room for that. And, you know, you disagree, you civilly talk your things out, and that's the way you do things. You don't pull out guns and start shooting people and killing innocent bystanders and wounding two people that were just there to see a political rally. Country's fallen so far, it's a shame. But I want to thank everybody coming out tonight. Again, thank all my council members here. They're great. Want to thank all city employees for jobs well done. Chief, I didn't get to talk to your people very much, but the incident we had where the shot was fired, I think that was handled perfect. And one person was lost, and it's a sad thing. But when you go into a situation like that, when there's a gunshot, you don't know, and you have to protect yourself. So, outstanding job as far as I'm concerned. Lord keeps watching over us and taking care of us. I just thank everybody and thank you all.
Brent?
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out, and looks like we're on our way to making all of our departments great again. That's about all I got.
Thank you. Greg?
Just two things. On a walk the other night, I know I've mentioned that, you know, we need to do better as a town cleaning things up. And I had the thought that maybe we could, as council members, Ward 1, Ward 2, Ward 3, Ward 4, maybe there's a day that we can set up September. Maybe it's a Saturday that we try to recruit friends, family, neighbors, people that have voted for you, and go out and walk your wards and do a little cleanup. And you've got 3 at-large council members you can rely on too. So it's not just, I don't have a ward, so somebody could say, I need your help in my ward. Or maybe we can help out. But I think we can help our city too. So in fact, with the council president, that makes 4 extra people for 4 wards. So everybody could have an extra person. And I have one other item. I don't know if you noticed it, but I did today. I was up here today for a few minutes. And when I pulled up, I don't know if anybody's seen it, but where that building used to be, between 2 trees, there's a picnic table. Did anybody see the picnic table?
Saw it yesterday.
So I seen it today, yeah. So I took a picture and sent it to the police chief. I said, is this your future break room of the PD? Or do you sit here and dream of the building? I mean, why is there a picnic table where the building's going to be built? So I didn't know if you'd seen it. It was a little levity. And I know that the chief, if you grab the microphone, I know you wanted to say something after all the legislation was passed. You didn't get a chance to.
I just want to thank you for passing tonight.
Not delaying it any longer. It really helps us to move along. We're going to be dealing with the federal government in the loan process, and they're going to be slow enough. So I appreciate that, and I really thank you. I think it's a really good thing for the city of London, and we'll be able to make it right and do it right. So and within the limits that you set with the money. So I appreciate it.
I also want to mention, because I figured somebody else would do it better than I did, but Roger Morris was past council member, and he's actually probably the biggest force that I'm setting up here. The first time I ran, he was there with me, pulled my hand through the whole process, and he kind of got me started. But he passed away. Great guy, as far as I'm concerned, anyways. Volunteered, and he was, what do we call it when we volunteer people?
What is it?
Volunteer.
Voluntold, there you go.
Yes,
Thank
he
you.
was very good at telling you that you were going to volunteer places, and I'm going to miss him. He was a resource for me to, hey Roger, have you ever seen this before? When you served on council, have you seen this? He's just a great guy, and I think we need to recognize a past council member that made some things happen during his time too, and his family. They're going through. I can only imagine what they're going through. So he's a great guy.
Thanks for remembering
I
that.
just want to mention what Mike said too. I was on council with him all of his terms, and he's a great guy to work with, and it's just sad he passed away. He got very bad, and that's all.
Thank you.
Well, let's, while we're here, let's just go ahead and let's just take a moment and have a minute of silence for this gentleman. Thank you.
All right, could I get a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Rich, I thought you fell asleep there.
I did.
Well, he said minute, so.
You said that.
Well, you've probably got